Board of Trustees, roll call.
Trustee Lamb.
Here.
Trustee Peck.
Here.
Trustee Rassich.
Here.
Trustee Rippey.
Here.
Trustee Benucci.
Here.
Trustee Fay.
Here.
Mayor Collins.
Here, if we could rise for the pledge.
Presidential comments.
I have none at this time.
Trustees' comments. There are no trustee comments. This would be the time for public comments on items not on the agenda, not to exceed 3 to 5 minutes per topic. There are no public comments, and we'll proceed with the business meeting. We're seeking a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda. Trustee Lamb.
Yes.
Trustee Peck.
Yes.
Trustee Rassich.
Yes.
Trustee Rippey.
Yes.
Trustee Benucci.
Yes.
Trustee Fay.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. We're seeking a motion to approve the consent agenda to include minutes of the board meeting and executive session held on November 3rd, bills paid and bills payable reports for November 17th, cash and investment, revenue and expenditure reports for October, ordinance number 3184, reducing the number of Class C2 liquor licenses to 0 and the Class K liquor licenses to 16 to reflect the closing of Eva's Market and Deli.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve items A through D under the consent agenda. Trustee Lamb.
Yes.
Trustee Peck.
Yes.
Trustee Rassich. Trustee Rippey.
Yes.
Trustee Benucci.
Yes.
Trustee Fay.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the demolition ordinance. We're seeking a motion to open a public hearing regarding a text amendment to the demolition ordinance.
I move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. That motion carries.
Yes, thank you. This matter is coming before the board for a formal hearing on the proposed revision of the demolition ordinance. As you recall, back in September, staff did come before the village board with a proposed expedited demolition ordinance. As a summary in substance, the actual ordinance itself streamlines the previous ordinance. It provides the village board with the ultimate decision to basically delay any requested demolition if there's a basis for determining that it's a historical structure for a 3-month delay period. The only modification since the village board's previous review of this document is based on some discussions with the HPC. As you recall, there was a provision which allowed no transferability of any demolition permit once it was actually approved by the village board. We did modify that one provision, so we do allow a demolition permit to be transferable to a third party as long as the proposed plan that was originally reviewed by the board is not changing. If the plan is changing or it's a new plan, then the actual demolition permit would not be transferable. That is the only actual modification or change to the language since the village board's last review of this document. So I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that the village board may have.
How many demolition permits do we have outstanding at the moment?
I'm not aware of any.
None?
There's
Not-
nothing that's gone before the HPC or village board that's been continued. I mean, there's
Isn't-
actually,
What about the,
well, I'm sorry, the only actual, I'm sorry, I think I misunderstood the question. The only actual demolition permit that's actually not been executed or demolished, I believe, is the Fazio.
Actually, if I remember correctly, that one expired and Mr. Fazio didn't make application to extend it.
okay, I just want to make sure it wasn't grandfathered. If we pass this tonight, it's not grandfathered.
That's correct.
Okay.
So, Mr. Murphy, that would mean that Mr. Fazio would have to reapply for a demolition permit.
That is correct.
Okay.
And we would encourage him to have a plan in place at the time he does, which this kind of specifies. So it's the right procedure to follow going forward for no matter what.
I had those questions as well, like who gets grandfathered in. I wasn't aware that his expired because I don't know. Did it actually expire? Because I don't know that we set a time limit back. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I'm not sure.
Actually, each one of them has a year in which to act upon it, and he had filed paperwork requesting an extension at one time.
Okay.
And when it came up due again, he didn't make a request, and after 4 months, we closed out the file.
Oh, so he did not request
Correct.
it again.
4
all
months
right.
after
I'm sorry,
the
misunderstood.
deadline had passed, we had closed out the file.
I have a couple more questions, Michael, just for clarification purposes. I know this came up before. When we're talking about the different definitions and that, where, for example, under alternative analysis, where it's feasible, they decide the feasibility, alternative plan will be prepared, may be prepared, could include a professional assistance of an architect, planner, or landscape architect. That's not a requirement, but if it does come down to that, who is picking up the tab?
Again, the bottom line is it's not a requirement. So it's
Okay.
really, as you know, we do have a professional architect on the HPC.
Right.
On this, the intent of this document was really to have the HPC work with the applicant. But again, it's not a requirement, so this will not be at the applicant's expense. Obviously, if they want to hire an architect, it's at their own volition. That's at their nickel. But it's clearly not at the village's nickel. It's not a village's cost, and nor is it a requirement that it be an applicant's cost unless they want to.
Okay, so if they don't, it could kind of come to an impasse and,
Again, there's no requirement that they retain professional advice, i.e. a professional architect. Again, we do have HPC has an architect who could potentially assist them, but really, in some ways, the burden is on the HPC to find the necessary pro bono assistance. But at the end of the day, if the applicant does not want to take that assistance or hire a professional architect, there's nothing in this document which would force them to do that.
okay. I think that's all my questions.
Yeah, it gives them, HPC, 90 days to work with, if we agree to the 90-day delay.
Correct.
HPC's got 90 days to convince them that they can be helpful and make a contribution and something good can come out of it. So if there's still an impasse at that point, it comes back to us.
Correct.
This is a public hearing. Are there any public comments on this item? Hearing none, we'd be seeking a motion to close the public hearing and return to the regular business meeting.
So move.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. Are there any other comments or questions from the board? We'd be seeking board consideration of a motion to adopt ordinance number 3185, approving the demolition ordinance.
So move. Second?
Second.
Motion's been made and
I have a
seconded.
comment, Michelle, before you go. For years, preservation's been an issue in the village, and I think it has sometimes divided individuals that would be friends and sometimes aren't friends any longer because of a particular landmark, whether it's demolished or not. And when I initially saw this ordinance, I was extremely apprehensive about supporting it. I did reach out individually to several members of the Preservation Commission as well as realtors in town, and the way that it's proposed, I think, is fair to all. And I really do think this is one of the best ordinances that we've actually put forth here as a board, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Thank you. And I also want to thank every individual on the Historic Preservation Commission, especially I believe Leif Hendrickson did a lot of the leg lifting on this one. So thank you very much.
Are there any other comments or questions? Not. The motion was made and seconded to adopt ordinance number 3185, approving the demolition ordinance. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassich? Yes. Trustee Rippey?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda is Goldfish Swim School. We're seeking a motion to open the public hearing for the proposed annexation agreement.
So move.
The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. That motion carries.
Yes, this matter is coming before the village board for a public hearing for a proposed annexation. As you recall, there is a parcel, the Goldfish Swim Club would like to actually open a facility in the village of Plainfield. The property, as we speak, is currently not annexed into the village, but it is contiguous. It's currently located in the Wolf Creek Industrial Park. As we speak, the property is zoned I-1. For Will County. The applicant is requesting to, again, rezone this property to B3 to annex into the village of Plainfield, to pay all and every applicable fee as regards to tap-on fees. Again, pursuant to our policy for commercial developments, our impact fees would be waived as it relates to the annexation agreement and some of the other impact fees for commercial property. The applicant is proposing to construct an indoor swimming facility in the existing building. Staff has had an opportunity to review this site. It does meet all the village's standards as it relates to parking and all the other site plan review requirements. So again, the applicant is requesting annexation. We do believe it's a logical extension of the village's boundaries. They are requesting a B3 zoning. And with that, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that the village board may have.
Michael, were there any concerns of adjacent business owners?
No, at the public hearing, we did not receive any negative feedback, to the best of my knowledge, of any adjacent property owners or anybody throughout the village.
Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Garrigan, this is going to, it says a Goldfish Swim School. It's primarily going to be a swim school, not a party pooling area, et cetera.
correct.
It's not going to be rented out for private parties, et cetera, et cetera.
No, this is for swimming lessons for small children.
Okay, swimming only.
Swimming only, yes.
Okay, thank you.
This is a public hearing. Are there any public comments on this item? Hearing none, we're seeking a motion to close the public hearing and return to the regular business meeting.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
The applicant's here tonight? Yes. I just wonder if they would, I'd like to hear from them that this is only for the swimming lessons, so.
Yes, hi. Good evening. Yes, it is a swim school solely for children from 4 months to 13 years of age.
Great, look forward to having it here. I've got
Yeah.
a 4-year-old that needs it, so,
There you go. Well, we're in business to teach children how to swim.
great, thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Not. We'd be seeking board consideration of a motion to direct the village attorney to prepare the necessary ordinances for the approval of the annexation agreement and annexation of parcel located at 12315 South Brea Drive.
That is my motion.
Second.
That motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck? Yes. Trustee Rassich?
Yes.
Trustee Rippey?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. We're seeking board consideration of a motion to adopt the findings of fact of the Plan Commission as the findings of fact of the Board of Trustees and to direct the village attorney to prepare an ordinance granting approval of the requested map amendment rezoning of the parcel at 12316 South Brea Drive from R1 to B3.
So move.
Second.
That motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments
Yeah,
or questions?
I have a question. I thought you said it was I-1 to be.
It's currently I-1 in the Will County. We're requesting B3 zoning.
Comes
Okay.
to us as R1.
But when it comes into the village, it technically comes in under R1, which is why it says R1.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments or questions? Not. That motion was made and seconded to direct the village attorney to prepare the ordinance for the rezoning. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck? Yes. Trustee Rassich? Trustee Rippey? Yes. Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 24326 West Blazing Star fence variance. We're seeking board consideration of a motion to adopt ordinance number 3186, allowing a variance for a corner side yard fence at 24326 West Blazing Star Court.
So move.
That motion's been made and seconded. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll proceed with the roll. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck? Yes. Trustee Rassich? Yes. Trustee Rippey? Yes. Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Administrators report?
None tonight?
Management Services report?
I have two items for consideration tonight. The first item is in regards to refunding the village's water and sewer revenue bonds, Series 2008. What you have in your packet is a supplemental ordinance authorizing the issuance of water and sewer system revenue refunding bonds of 2015. If the board recalls, back in, I believe it was July of this year, we refunded the 2007 bond. Staff is back again recommending that, along with the underwriter, Baird, Robert Baird and Company, to look to refund the water and sewer revenue bonds. The ordinance authorizes an issuance of not to exceed $15 million. And with this ordinance, it will set limitations and conditions for the sale and the refinancing of these bonds. If the terms are not available on the day that staff and Baird look to refund these bonds, the market conditions are not favorable, the village cannot reissue that debt. What's being found currently under the current pricing scenarios is that debt service savings is estimated at about 5.19%. Present value savings is about $585,000. Again, the ordinance is to stipulate terms and conditions by which staff, along with Baird, can reissue this debt. It does not change the terms of the debt that's on the books currently, so that means the maturity dates will remain the same. It does not extend it any longer. And on an annual basis, it's roughly $35,000 to $40,000 a year. Currently, an estimated debt service savings for our water and sewer fund, and this will be found in fiscal year 16 is when we'll start seeing the debt service savings. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Just a comment. Nice work. This is, what, the fourth time we've saved? At least the third, maybe the fourth.
Since 2009, we've been refunding some of the existing debt up until this point, and since 2009, we've achieved in present value savings just over $2 million in savings. This will add
Excellent.
possibly another $600,000.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Not, we're seeking board consideration of a motion to adopt a supplemental ordinance, ordinance number 3187, authorizing the issuance of water and sewer system revenue refunding bonds of 2015 of the Village of Plainfield. That motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck? Trustee Rassich? Trustee Rippey? Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay? Thank you. That motion carries.
Thank you. The next item I have is in regards to New World Systems, which is the village's current software program that's being utilized. What you have in your packet is a license agreement to swap out some existing modules that are currently not being used and to add additional modules to help facilitate centralizing and routing resident requests that come in through the village. Currently, the requests that come in are very much in paper form, not necessarily easy to track. Staff is requesting to bring the modules in to more efficiently track these requests. And then ultimately, the second phase, which is included in the proposal that you see in your packet, is an online e-request module to help residents submit requests to the village's website. We do have currently work orders internally within our utility billing division, and staff is happy with the process and the work order request modules that are internal. This will help facilitate on the public works end, and you can see the flow chart that's attached that shows how the workflow would work. It will help better facilitate on the management side to see how our performance is doing and how efficient we are at responding to some of these requests as well. The request in the proposal is a total cost of $23,066. It was included within the current fiscal year budget, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have on the process.
We've been working with New World Systems for, what, 3-4 years now?
We signed the agreement back in 2007. We've been live since 2008.
We've been satisfied with their ability to deliver what we expected and performance of all these modules.
Very much so. This will help centralize a lot of that amongst all the departments as well.
I support the idea of the module, and it's reasonable in cost. I'm just, how many resident requests do we really receive?
It's hard to track a lot of those now because we do have more paper format. But I know that, you know, I probably could lean more towards Public Works on the calls that they receive. Streetlights, potholes, things of that nature that come in.
I'm guessing there's not that many of those, but is it also useful internally to help track work orders and so on?
Correct.
So it's not strictly a resident.
Right.
It makes our whole system better and and
Right. We can
traceability.
assign, it can be assigned to certain staff members so they can follow up on the requests. So we know where to direct them better as well as they come in.
Okay. Fine, thank you. I think it's a good idea. Very reasonable for what I think we'll get out of it, so.
Tracy, in the future, could we include the total cost in the agenda item?
Oh, sure. Sure.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions? Not, we're seeking board consideration of a motion to authorize the village president to execute a license agreement with New World Systems dated October 22nd, 2014 for the implementation of the additional software modules and training travel.
So move.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassage? Trustee Rippey?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Engineers report? Planning Department report? Building Department report?
No report.
Public Works report? Police Chief's report?
Thank you. The first item I have on the agenda is seeking board's consideration to authorize the purchase of 1,400 T-shirts for the DARE program. Each year, the DARE students that participate in the program are afforded a T-shirt with the DARE logo on it and a design. We currently have 1,200 DARE students in the program. 200 of the T-shirts would be held over for next year for fundraising purposes. The amount that we're seeking authorization for is in the amount of $6,650. All the monies would come out of the DARE program, and we do use a in-town vendor that's worked very well with us over several years. So I am seeking board's consideration for the purchase in the amount of $6,650 to Boomer Tees of Plainfield.
Question, Chief. On the back side, it lists 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 schools. Are those the only schools that are involved in the program?
That's correct. Throughout the entire Plainfield and Oswego school district, Oswego elected to drop the program, and the Plainfield schools outside the village have elected to drop it, but the Plainfield schools that remain in the village have stayed with the DARE program, yes.
Okay. And the people who've gone through it are usually pleased to receive these and wear them and so on, just to...
Oh, absolutely. They're, for lack of a better term, they're a hot commodity amongst the fifth graders, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. I move that we authorize the purchase of the 1,400 DARE T-shirts.
That motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassage? Trustee Rippey?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay?
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries.
Thank you. And the only other item I have is the Police Department Operations Report for October 2014. One thing I would like to bring to your attention is on page 4, I believe it would be, the Code Enforcement Report. We've refined that a little bit to make it a little bit more understandable as far as when we receive a complaint of some type of violation, the various steps that we go through as far as whether we're taking enforcement action or whether the violation has either corrected itself or the property owner is taking care of it. So we did refine that in this monthly operation report. We will continue in this format. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
No questions. Again, a couple minor comments. Downward trend of incidences from 2012, 13, and 14 continue to be lower and lower every year. This is a continuation of the trend we've seen all year. So that's very impressive. The other thing which I noted for a change, I actually counted the people that are arrested. We have the arrest report. Only 18 of them actually live in the village out of 56. So that's about 32%, which means we have a lot of outside village people.
That's correct. A lot of the arrests we make are traffic related, so it comes down to people that are traveling through the village from point A to point B, yes.
Okay, interesting, just, I think well, a lot of people do go through town, so yeah, that's not surprising.
You know, Chief, if there's one thing I could comment is on page 3 of the operation report for October 2014. I noticed approximately 33 officers received training for the month, which approximately about 300 hours of officer training. You know what? I truly believe that professional training equals a professional police service. And that is really encouraging to see that many individuals receiving a various amount of training, because it produces a professionalism that the community recognizes, as long as they're not getting a ticket, but they're being, when they are ticketed, they're receiving it in a very professional fashion, and which is always encouraging. And I know I hear individuals talk about the nature of our police service, and it is a high-end compliment that is completely brought about, and oftentimes, like I say, it's through training so people are aware, officers are aware of what they are to provide. An additional comment, it was on page 23 of the report, and for the month, or for the year 2014, we had in item 6626, we had texting, cell phone use while driving, which would probably be fall under the consideration of our ordinance called distracted driving. I noticed there were only 13 citations issued. I could issue 13 every afternoon on the corner of Van Dyke and Route 126. We have a tremendous number of young students with us today, and I think they're very aware of the fact of how dangerous texting and driving is. What do you use as a criteria for issuing a ticket, so they'll know and I'll know also? Because I see people texting all day long.
Well, there's several things we look at. Obviously, their driving behavior. If that comes to our attention, then we'll look a little bit closer. In conjunction with that, that's part of the criteria we use for drunk driving as well. But speaking strictly of text driving, we'll look at the driver's behavior first of all, if they're obeying other laws in conjunction with just driving down the road. As part of that also, though, although they may have a cell phone in their hand, they have the legal ability to use that cell phone for certain things that are not against the law, such as navigation, things along those lines. So part of the problem that we face is we have to prove that they are using the cell phone as a phone device or texting, things along those lines. So we have to observe them doing that. And you're absolutely right. In some cases, it's pretty obvious they got the phone to their ear and they don't even know, their surroundings around them. But in other instances, if they have the phone in their lap or lower down where it's difficult to see if they're actually talking on it or using it as a navigation device, we have to look a little bit closer in those type of instances to make sure that we're actually stopping them for the illegal use of the cell phone, that being either texting or talking on it while driving.
Okay, fine. Thank you. The other Friday night, I was on my way to Chicago. For everyone's edification, I was on my way to Chicago. I was on the Eisenhower Expressway. Traffic was moving, but not moving quickly. And I thought there was an awful distracted driver to my side, and he was in the front, weaving back and forth in the lanes. And when I finally passed him, he had a laptop computer on his in front of him on the steering wheel. And I said, boy, I just wish I could give him a ticket, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, there's
Texting.
text.
Emailing and driving is a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, you defend him. Okay, and thank you.
Thank you.
Not anymore. Now we'd hang them.
Are there any other comments or questions for the chief? Attorney's report?
No report this evening, thank you.
Reminders?
November 18th is the Planning Commission. November 24th is the next committee of the whole. The 27th and 28th, the village offices will be closed, and December 1st will be our next village board meeting.
We're seeking a motion to adjourn to executive session as permitted under the Open Meetings Act under Section 2C11 to discuss pending litigation not to reconvene.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Trustee Lamb?
Yes.
Trustee Peck?
Yes.
Trustee Rassich? Yes. Trustee Rippey?
Yes.
Trustee Benucci?
Yes.
Trustee Fay? Thank you. That motion carries.
If any student wants their paper signed, trustees will do it.